course, a lot of us still seeing drought conditions all across West Michigan. If you've been on social media, you've definitely seen the low water levels in the Grand River. We actually had some drone video taken. Just look at that. So this is taken last week, I think on Friday, actually, and you've got just the dirt on the left side of the river there.
Wow.
Water should actually be over that dirt. Okay, so just to give you an idea. So this drone video just shows you how low the Grand River is. The video you're looking at was taken by the railroad bridge in Grand Rapids. So of course, Sam's here to kind of help us walk us through this. This is just one of the many drought conditions that we are seeing across West Michigan. I'm not shocked by this, just based off of how much we have been talking about drought and the conditions that we have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so many different ways that we see the influence of drought conditions, whether it's our vegetation, whether it's our grass being crunchy, or our water levels being extraordinarily low in the rivers. We need the consistent rounds of rainfall for so many different factors. But yes, on Thursday, they updated the drought monitor that comes out every Thursday, and it placed portions of West Michigan underneath the severe drought. And you'll notice a bullseye area there underneath that severe drought. That's kind of the darker shade of orange, I guess I would call it. And that's including Ottawa County and portions of Kent County, where the Grand River is. Surrounding areas not quite as high of a level of drought conditions, but still experiencing at least some level of drought. Now, the good news is that we have received some rainfall. We saw about 2 inches of rainfall in portions of West Michigan over the weekend. And then just last night and into this morning, we saw 3/10 of an inch in Holland and a 1/2 inch plus in Grand Rapids. That's actually right through that area of a severe drought. But little rainfalls events like this don't make up for a summer's worth of a drought, right? So we really need consistency in rain. And I was just talking about it the last hour, Tanner, how our ground acts like a sponge. So think of a sponge that you left out on your kitchen counter for a long time. It kind of gets dry and crunchy, right?
Yep.
That's kind of how our ground is right now. So even when we're receiving these big amounts of rainfall, the ground takes time to soak that rain in because it's kind of dried up and crunchy. And then eventually you give it enough rain, it starts to soak it in, and we start to see the effects of it. But right now, the ground's kind of like, whoa, that's a lot all at once. And we're going to see little ponding areas, and it's not necessarily going to help out the ground, or our river levels will slowly rise. But clearly, based off that drone footage, we're well behind where we need to be.
Oh, very behind from where we need to be. You know, I think it's really interesting, and you actually answered my question of any of this rain. It's beneficial, but is this going to make up for it? So the answer being no. So hopefully, you know, we can start to get that way with some of the rain chances we are expecting. Again, I don't even think that would be enough to kind of cure what we're seeing here.
Yeah, we have a lot of drought conditions going on, and hopefully we don't make up for it in the winter.
Yeah, right.
I'd rather make up for it in the form of rainfall than in the form of snow.
Right.
But really impressive drone footage there, and gives a good all-encompassing example of how these drought conditions can influence our forecasts.
Yeah, it's kind of the ebb and flow of how rivers work, especially right now when we do have some drought-like conditions. You know, this is also something too with the drought that we've been seeing. It's really put a stress on the leaves of the trees, and we've seen some early leaves falling off of the trees. You know, we're starting to get into that territory where we're seeing more and more leaves fall off, but at the end of August, we were seeing leaves fall onto the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the drought conditions, we've got the change in the sunlight, a lot of things happening at once, right, that influence our trees outside, but crunchy nonetheless. I mean, Dave was saying the grass is almost sharp outside, and that's a good way to put it. When you're not watering it consistently and Mother Nature's not helping you out, we're certainly seeing the influence there.
All right.